Yo, what's up, y'all, and welcome back to KeepItTechie, where I help you learn Linux and break into tech one command at a time. I'm Josh, and today we're setting up Jellyfin, your own private media server that doesn't lock you behind a paywall. Now, before we get into the setup, do me a quick favor and smash that like button. It really helps the channel and tells YouTube this video is worth sharing with folks looking to escape the Plex subscription trap. So first off, I'm at jellyfin.org, and I just wanted to bring up the website just to show you guys how to get to the documentation in case you run into any issue. And in this video, what I'm gonna do is set up Jellyfin using Docker on Ubuntu Server 24.04. I'll show you how to prep a secondary drive, mount and organize your media folders, use my custom Docker installation script that you can find on wiki.kitpro.us. And of course, I had that link down in the description of the video. And also set up and run Jellyfin using Docker Compose, and then walk through the web UI setup. And at the end of the video, I'll share some quick thoughts on why I stopped using Plex and moved over to Jellyfin. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm SSH to a clean Ubuntu Server 24.04 VM, and I've already attached an extra virtual hard drive to this Proxy server, and it shows up as dev sda. And I'll go down and show you guys that right fast. There is a command called lsblock, so lsbok, and this will show you all the devices on the system. So lsblock. So SDA, that's the drive we're working with. I just added a 10 gigabyte drive as the extra drive that will store our media files on, so to speak. And the drive is not partitioned and it doesn't have a file system on it. So we have to go through and do that. I wanted to at least show you guys how to do that in case you get a new hard drive and you stick it in a computer and you want to format it to however you want to, or set up partitions and all that stuff. I just wanted to walk you guys through how to actually do it. So the first thing you want to do is find out what the name of it is, and it's SDA. And what we're going to do is use fdisk. Fdisk is super simple for new people. So if this is your first time messing around with hard drives or devices on a Linux server, fdisk is probably where you want to start. So sudo fdisk, and then you want to specify the device. And all devices, like hard drives and stuff like that, are stored under dev. So /dev and then /SDA. And that's what we want to partition. And so let's press enter and type in our password. And fdisk is super simple. If you press M, this will bring up the help, and then you need to press enter, and that'll bring up all the options for you that you have in here. And what we're gonna do is hit N for new, which is super simple. N is for a new partition, add a new partition. So boom, add a new partition. And I already know this stuff off the top of my head, so all you have to do is hit N, press enter, and then P for primary. We want this a primary partition. Press enter, and we're gonna use the default for this because this is the partition number. So press 1, and then we want to start off the sector. So this is basically the size of the partition. So we're gonna store that at 2048, which is fine. That's the beginning of the hard drive, or the beginning of the where the partition can start. And then right here is the ending of it, and you specify that, and you can set it however you want to. So if you want this partition to be 5 gigs, and then you want to create a second partition on there that's 5 gigs as well, then you can specify that. But we're going to use a default, which is the total drive size. We're just going to press enter, and boom, we're good to go. Now, all these changes that we did right now, they're saved in memory. It hasn't been written to the hard drive until you use another command, which is W. And I'll show you guys that up in here right fast. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, write table to disk and exit. So all you have to do is type W, press enter, and all those changes that we made, it will actually create that partition for us. So you'll see the partition table has been altered, calling IOCTL to reread partition table, and then seeking this. What's up, y'all? If you've been watching my channel for a minute, you already know I stay talking about Linux. And if you're looking for a solid, reliable enterprise Linux distro, let me put you on to Rocky Linux. This is the go-to replacement for CentOS, and it's built for the community, by the community. It's got everything you need for a stable and secure Linux experience, whether you're running servers, home labs, or enterprise workloads. And the best part, it's backed by CIQ, making sure it stays rock solid for the long haul. So if you're tired of these companies pulling the plug on your favorite distros, Rocky Linux is where you need to be. And I've covered Rocky Linux before, and trust me, it's worth checking out. So head over to rockylinux.org to learn more and get started. Keep it techie. Peace. So it created that partition for us. And if we run the ls block command again, we'll see that we have a partition underneath it. So that's the partition. Now we need to make that partition an actual file system. And we can use whatever we want. Most of the time, people use ext4, or you can use ZFS, whatever you want to use for your file system. But there is a bunch of commands in there. It's basically make file system. So mk, fs, dots, and then there's options in here. I'm gonna just tab it out. But as you can see, you can, whatever is in here, you can make it the file system. So BetterFS, ext2, 3, 4, which probably not gonna want to use 2 or 3. You want to use 4, which is what we're gonna use. They got FAT, Minix, MS-DOS, NTFS, VFAT, XFS. So you got options there. And you can also install other ones that are not here if it's not there. So we're gonna do ext4, and then all we have to do is type /dev/SDA, and then the partition number, which is 1, and then press enter, and you'll see it go through and create that file system. Now, it depends on how big the hard drive is. If it's a big hard drive, it's gonna take some time. This is just 10 gigs, so it's all virtual, you know what I'm saying? So it didn't take long at all to create the file system. But if you got like terabyte drives, multiple terabyte drives, it may take a little time to run this, but shouldn't be too long. Now, let me show you guys how to mount it so we can use it, because right now it's not mounted. It's just sitting there. And the reason you can tell it's not mounted when we run that ls block, this is our file system for our actual operating system. It's the VDA with all these different partitions right in here, and you'll see where they're mounted. So this is mounted at boot, this is mounted at root right here, and it's a LVM file system or partition. And so up here with SDA1 is not mounted anywhere because it was just created. So we need to mount it somewhere, and we need to create a space for it to be mounted. So make dir, and then I always create my folders under the mount directory. So there is a mnt directory under root, and then I always create a media folder. Now all this, what I'm doing right here, works for Plex, Jellyfin, Stream.io. This is all just base hard drive stuff. You're setting up your hard drive, or you're setting up your media directory for whatever system that you're going to use to access these files. So this, you have to do this no matter what you're using. So I just want you guys to understand that all of what I'm doing right now can be used no matter what you're using. Now let's go to mount that partition to that folder, and that'll be the location where our media will be stored. So let's go sudo mount, and then we have to specify that partition. So dev, and then /SDA1, that partition, and then we want to mount it to our mount directory, and then media, and that's where we want to mount it. Press enter, and that'll mount it to that directory. And as long as you don't see an error, that means you're good to go. Now, let's say you want this to mount every time your computer boots up. Just want to show you guys this right fast. So let's go sudo nano, and I'm gonna just go into the file, but I'm gonna run a command that allows you to do it. And I'll create some documentation so you guys can follow this, copy paste and everything. And I'll put a link in the video when I put this video up. But under etc, there is a file called fstab. This is where all your drives are stored, or your connections are stored. So file system information. So you want to add whatever drives you want to mount on boot into this location. And so I'm gonna just close it right fast, because I'm gonna run a separate command. I'm gonna just use echo. I already have it written out for me. But yeah, I'm gonna just use sudo t, and I'm gonna write this to the etc fstab, basically a mount for SDA1 to our mount media directory. To say ext4 file system default 02. That's fine. So it'll echo that to our fstab using t to write it into that file. So just go and press enter, and I'll write that out to that file. And we can actually go check it if we go sudo nano just to see if it's still there. Yeah, it's there. So boom. And we could have just copied and pasted that in there, but I just wanted to show you guys a different way of doing it. Now let's go down and create some folders under our media directory. So if we type sudo make dir, and then we use -p, and I want to show you guys something cool right fast. So under our mount directory, we can go media. You could put these squiggly lines, I forget what they're called, the curly brackets, but you can put multiple folders under this one folder. Let's say we want a movies directory, you put a comma, and let's say we want a TV shows directory, and then you could put a comma, and then let's say we put a music folder in there as well. And that's the last folder we want to create, but it will create all these folders at that same level. So under media, it will create a movies folder, a TV folder, and a music folder. So, and then you also have to put this -p in order for it to create multiple folders. So let's go down and press enter, boom, and it'll create those folders. And then we use, so let's see, is tree on here? Nah, tree is not on here, so never mind. Let's go ls-la, and then let's just go mount media, boom, and we'll see our folders there that we just created. We're good to go. And so now that we got all that set up, we can go through and install Docker. And this will be one of the easiest parts because I'll show you guys how to use my script. So if we switch over back to the browser, and if we go to, I got another tab open, I'll show you guys this, but this is on my wiki website. It's kitpro.us. It's a documentation site, but I do have a quick install script for Docker and Docker Compose. And this works on Ubuntu Server 24.04 LTS. If you go down to the bottom, I do have a link to it. You can read through this. This breaks down everything dealing with the script, but you can check it out on your own. It breaks it all down for you. All you got to do is copy this link right here, and then let's switch back over to our terminal, and then let's use wget. So let's go wget and paste that in there. And I just wanted to at least let y'all do it this way. That way it's quicker. Now you can obviously do it manually. It's not that difficult. Everything I'm doing in there is kind of like a manual way. It's just set up in a script. So install -docker.sha. We're going to change it to executable. That way it'll execute on your system, and all you have to do is type // and then install -docker.sha, press enter. It'll go through and update your system, and it'll basically go through all those steps that I have written out on my website. So if you, I don't know, a little scared of it or whatever, you can obviously read through the script before it's actually ran on your system. And I also have it on GitHub, so you can look at the script before you even run it or even attempt to run it. And it basically goes through and adds the Docker official GPG key and the repository, and then install Docker, and then also download the latest version of Docker Compose and install that as well. And then a couple things it's supposed to do at the end. It's supposed to add you to the Docker group, which I don't think it does. It's still not working. I can't figure out why it's not adding to the group using that command. But what you could do is just type user mod -a, lowercase a, capital G, and then you want to specify the group. So Docker, and then whatever your user account is, you want to add to the Docker group. And then you can log out of the server and log back into the server. And now you should be a part of the Docker group, and you can just check by typing groups. And boom, we're part of the Docker group, which is needed for Docker Compose. That way you don't have to type sudo. Now, one thing you can do is check your version of Docker. Let's just do that, verify that it's on there. And then also we can check out Docker Compose as well, but we should be good. It's probably Docker-Compose. Yeah, there we go. So -Compose, so it's version 2.39.1. All right, cool. So let's clear, and let's go down and set up our Docker Compose for Jellyfin. And like I said, I'm gonna create a guide for you guys to follow so you can copy and paste a lot of this stuff. So we're gonna make a directory under our home directory, and this is the way I like to do it. You can do it however you want to. It doesn't matter where you store it. I'm just create a folder called Jellyfin under my home directory, and then let's just go down CD to that directory as well. So Jellyfin, and boom. So we're in there already, and let's go nano docker-compose and press enter. And I already have a compose file written out. So Let me just paste it in there and I'll just walk you guys through it just so the video is not too long. If we go up here, it's going to pull the latest version of Jellyfin from Docker.io. We're going to name the container Jellyfin. The network is going to be the host network. Let's see, media. This is our mount point. So it's going to import this media location right there. And then we got our cache and config. It's going to put that at that location. And then right here, this is in case the system reboots, it'll start up this Docker container as soon as it reboots, and then our volumes down here. So let's go on and save this. Boom, boom. And we're in that location. So now, only thing we had to do to start it is to type Docker compose up and then -d. Press it, and this will pull down the Docker image from, like I said, what is it, docker.io, and set up our container. And then once it's fully set up, we can log in on the website and I'll walk you guys through setting everything up. All right, so we are done. And just so you guys know, the ports for Jellyfin is 8096. So let's go on and switch over to our browser again. And all we have to do is, and actually let's go back over here and run our IP-A. I already know what my IP address is, but this is something you want to do. If you don't know what it is, just run IP space A. This will tell you what your IP address is for this server or system. So mine is 10.10.0.108. So find out what yours is, and that's the IP address you want to go to. And then of course the port behind it, which is 8096. So let's go back to our browser and open up a new tab. And then we can type in our IP address. And I'm gonna back some of this off. So 108 and then ports 8096. Press enter. And this will take us to the setup of Jellyfin. I'll walk you guys through it. It's super simple. It's your language. Set up your user name for the admin account. So I always change it to admin whenever I set it up. I don't know. I just like admin. It sounds better, or it looks better, and I can remember it. I don't like root for some reason on these websites like this. So admin sounds, I don't know, it's a little bit better for me. It's uniform. So set up your admin account password, type it in twice, hit next, and then this is where you set up your media libraries. So don't you remember all those folders we created? This is where you want to add them. So first folder is movies. We want to set that one up. And it's the display name. That's fine. You can change it to whoever you want to if you want to. And then you select your folder, and you'll see that it pulls up that media directory because we specified it in our Docker compose. So that directory is connected to our Docker container. So that media location is there. So if we click there on media and we click on our movies directory, boom, there we go. So we got our movies directory or movies folder. Enable library. There is a bunch of options in here. I'm just going to leave them default for right now. I'm not going to take you guys through all of that at the moment. Let's just go down and set that up, and let's set up the other ones. Let's go through and set up shows, set up a folder. Let's go TV. Boom, good to go. So we got our TV folder set up. Boom. And then let's add another media directory, which is our music, and let's set that folder up. Music. Boom. Okay, there we go. So we got all our directories set up. Let's hit next. Prefer metadata language, English, United States. So select whatever language you have or you want to use, depending on where you are. This is setting up the remote access right here, so you can allow remote connection to this server. You can uncheck it if you only want connections like locally. That's up to you. Depends on how you want people to connect to it. And so I'm gonna just hit next there. I'm gonna just leave it on because my firewall is gonna block it anyway. And you're done. That's it. So that's basically the main setup. So let's see, admin, and then let's type in password for it and quit trying to save my password, Chrome. But there we go. That's our directories. Now I want to go through and show you guys one of the most important areas, or at least the most important areas. So under administration, if you're in here logged in under your admin account, the dashboard is very important. This is something you want to look at, and this is something you want to set up from the beginning. You have your general settings. So basically the dashboard just gives you all the information about the server. You can scan all your libraries, you can restart, you can shut it down, all that stuff from right here. You can set up your paths, or at least know where your paths are for everything, like your logs, metadata, transcoders, all that stuff. Under general, this is all the information about your server. You can change up the server name. You can change those paths here if you need to. This is your connections. So quick connect, you can turn it on and off. Login disclaimer, custom CSS code if you want to change that. Performance right here, down in here. You can change the encoding limits, parallel encoding limits, make changes there. And now users, here we go. So this is where you set up all your users. So if you want to manage users on your system, then that's where you manage it there. Library, display, all that. You can display the folders, group movies in the collections. You can turn that on. Metadata, info, and then playback. Here we go, transcoding. So this is one of the important ones. It all depends on how your server is set up. Now, if you have a GPU, then you can turn on like hardware acceleration. If you have NVIDIA set up, like an NVIDIA video card set up, then yeah, you can set up your hardware encoding. Allow encoding for HEVC format or AVI format. Select the tone mapping algorithm to use. They got a couple options in here. You can specify whichever one you want, but this explains it right here. Tone mapping range, FFmpeg. You can see that it uses FFmpeg. And a lot of settings in here. You can throttle things and you can make changes there. And then resuming, streaming. So internet streaming bitrate limit. So you can set limits on the streaming. So people that are streaming outside of your network, you set limits on that. Trick play, enable hardware decoding, hardware accelerated MJPEG encoding, and just some more other options under here. But I just wanted to show you guys this. You can look at all the devices, all the activities. So basically all the users that connect, live TV, DVR. Now plugins is important. You can add plugins to this thing to make it better. I'm not gonna go that deep into it. I might do another video just showing you guys plugins, but plugins are super cool on here as well. Set up API keys, logs right there, schedule tasks. You can set up schedule tasks like scan your media, update plugins, library, audio normalization. It's a whole bunch of stuff in here, man. If you got music in here, download missing lyrics, download missing subtitles. It's just so much stuff up in here. It'll take you a while to go through this. Now, let me go back because it'll be a lot going through this whole thing. So let's go back and let me show you guys the settings. So this is just your main settings for your profile. So I don't recommend you mess around with your admin profile. Only log into your admin profile if you need to change something or if you need to modify something for the server. Create you a user profile for just watching your media. And then once you start adding videos to your media directories, then they'll start showing up here. And I don't wanna just add things here. I have stuff that I've ripped, but I don't wanna add them here on this server because it's gonna get destroyed. So it doesn't make sense to add anything here. Now, Jellyfin runs great in the browser, but you can also use it on Android, iOS, Fire TV, Android TV, Roku, Smart TV, even Kodi if that's your thing. This video is mainly focused on the local access only, but if you want to expose it securely, I would tell you to check out reverse proxy tools like Nginx and probably set up a Cloudflare tunnel. It all depends, which I need to do a video on. And then also check out the documentation on their website, which is right over here. So that'll give you a whole lot more information there. All right, let's wrap it up. Plex was great when it started out, but between price hikes, premium features getting locked, and all the account requirements, it kind of lost its shine. But Jellyfin brings it back to the basics. So no ads, no subscriptions, no cloud accounts needed. You control the server, the data, and the playback experience. And you can do it all right here on Linux for free. Now, if this video helped you out, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with a friend who may be tired of that Plex nonsense. This is just one of many ways to take back control of your tech. And here on KeepItTechie, I'm all about showing you how to do that using Linux. So until next time, stay safe, stay encouraged, and of course, keep it techie. Peace. Yo, what's up, y'all? Listen, if you've been sitting there thinking about making a move, let me tell you, tech is where it's at. I don't care where you're coming from, whether you've got a degree, a GED, or just pure hustle. there's room for you in this game. You see, tech is more than just keyboards and code. It's solving problems, creating opportunities, and building the future. You already have what it takes because tech doesn't care where you start. It cares where you're willing to go. You can teach yourself Linux, learn Python, break into cybersecurity, or even launch your own app. And the resources are out here for free. And yes, you heard me, free. Now, yeah, it's gonna take effort. You'll have to grind, but think about this. The time is gonna pass anyway. So why not invest it in a skill that'll change your life? I mean, tech doesn't just pay the bills, it opens doors to freedom, stability, and generational wealth. So stop doubting yourself, start small, stay consistent, and keep building. Because this isn't just a career, it's a movement. And guess what? You belong here. So let's get it, because the future is yours to build. Keep it techie.